I brought my household food, so I guess that's good luck, right? She knows you're gonna die because the bucket of ice told her. Hello and welcome back to Escapism Stories. I'm your host Faye. This is Amiko. And today we are looking at New Year's Eve traditions, omens, and eerie folklore from around the world. We just want to say we hope you had a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Don't we? There's something strange about the start of a new year. For many people, it's exciting, hopeful, and full of possibilities. But for other people, it can feel really heavy and can feel scary. And that weird feeling in between ending one year and starting a new year has been written about throughout history, which is why these folkloric tales come about and why there are so many New Year's Eve omens. And those are the stories that we're going to look at today. So grab your doge, grab a cup of tea, I don't have one, and just get comfortable. And let's get into it. In folklore, New Year's Eve isn't just a date. It's a liminal space in between what was and what will be. Liminal times were believed to be really powerful. It was a time where the veil in between the spirit world and our world was said to be at its lowest, kind of like Halloween. And because of that, it's supposed to be dangerous. Like folklore says that it's a dangerous time of year. Signs, good or bad, were meant to matter more, so people paid more attention to these signs. And that's why so many New Year's Eve traditions focus on protection, luck, and looking out for these omens. And people weren't just celebrating New Year's blindly, they were listening. Some of these New Year's stories are beautiful, some unsettling, and some sit in between. In Scotland and Northern England, there is a tradition known as first footing. First footing is basically the very first person to step over your threshold after the clock strikes 12 on midnight on New Year's Eve, are said to bring the house good or bad luck for the whole year. There were rules to the first footer. The first footer must be of dark-haired descent and not light-haired. This goes back to the ancient fear of Vikings invading your home and pillaging your village, so light-haired people are considered unlucky. So sorry any blonde people who are watching this. The second rule is they should bring symbolic gifts. A gift of coal equaled warmth, a gift of bread equaled food, and a gift of alcohol just meant a good time. It was a good time for all. Everyone had fun. The other rule is no first foot meant just bad luck for all, for the whole year. So thinking back, I'm recording this on the 2nd of January. So yesterday, I think I was the one that left the house and came back with food. So does that mean I brought good luck? Maybe. Does it count if you're the person that left? Who knows? I'm just gonna say I'm gonna have great luck. I brought my household food, so I guess that's good luck, right? What I think is fun about this tradition is it's more tied to human presence and the people who are in your home. It's not tied to achievement, it's not tied to goals, it's really tied just to the community and who you live with. And I think that's really nice. There's something I think really important to be said about that. So that's first footing. Not all New Year's traditions involve visitors. Some involve watching and waiting. And there is a story in 1891 of Mrs. Calvert from Ohio who told her husband that he would meet a very violent death. She knew about this death because she put out a bucket of water on New Year's Eve, and the next morning she went and she looked, and her bucket of water had turned to ice. And in the ice, she could see a coffin and a lone woman. She later told newspapers that she knew that coffin was her husband, and she knew that lone woman was her. And the eerie thing about this story is that her husband died only 4 days later. On the 5th of January, 1891, he was struck by a train on the way to visit his daughter. So was that just all a massive coincidence? Or is there something more to this? Like, this eerie story is more about finding out what the future is, what your next future year is going to be by predicting the future through her form as like ice. I'm not sure I want to know what the future is. I think that's too scary. Yeah, I don't really want to know, and I don't really want anyone to tell me. Like, if my husband said that he'd put a bucket of ice outside our house, and then in the ice the next morning he saw a coffin, I would just tell him to shush. Like, I would not want to know. There are other death omens relating to New Year's Eve, but in Wales, if you see your shadow in the moonlight on New Year's Eve night, it's said that you will not live to see the next New Year's Eve, which is really scary. And I'm not sure it would work, obviously, if there's a new moon. So I guess during a new moon, everyone's fine. If there is a full moon, just don't go out looking for your shadow, because who knows what might happen if you believe in these things. But the thing is, a lot of these stories weren't told as entertainment. They're warnings. Proof that the future might reveal itself if you're brave enough to look, which I really am not. I really don't want to know what the future is. Like, I kind of would only want to know, like, do things go okay? But otherwise, I don't want to know. Anyone else? Anyone else? During my research, I came across this other story about the stone of Quoybune. Quoybune? I'm gonna go with Quoybune. So this tale comes from the Orkney Islands off the north coast of Scotland. And in 1883, antiquarian R.M.Z. Ferguson wrote about this druidical stone known as the Stone of Quoybune. I'm really sorry if I'm not saying it right. I'm trying my best. But the tale is, on New Year's Eve, or Hogmanay, as it's known in Scotland, the stone is known to take a little trip from where it currently stands down to the loch of Broadhouse. And folkloric tradition says that if anyone sees this stone taking its journey, they will meet a very fatal end. They will die. Folklore also says that once the stone has made its journey and reaches the water's edge, it dips its head into the water and then returns. So the question is, what part of a rock is its head? I mean, is it the top? I'm guessing it's the top. The other question is, how does it roll? Or does it just slide? Or does it grow little legs? Who knows? Who knows? But that's what folklore says. Folklore says this stone, which is actually this stone on the screen, makes its way to that log, which you can also see in this picture here. By the late 19th century, it was widely believed this stone's journey was extremely dangerous for anyone to see it. Ferguson wrote of one story of a young man from Glasgow, unfamiliar with the local fear surrounding the stone. Curious, he stayed out on Hogmanay to see if the legends were true. As midnight approached, terror crept in. He paced between the loch and the stone, feeling something shift in the darkness. At the stroke of midnight, he realized he stood directly between the stone and the water. He believed he saw the stone move. From that moment, he lost consciousness. At dawn, he was found beside the stone, barely alive. He survived, but could never really say what truly happened. Had the stone struck him, or had fear done the work itself? No one ever knew. Another story about the stone is a lot darker, and it is said, a ship was wrecked off the coast of Versailles, killing everyone on board except one young sailor. He found shelter with a couple near the stone of Quoybune. When warned of the legend, he dismissed it as superstition. On Hogmanay night, he went out into the cold and sat on top of the stone waiting for midnight. At dawn, the villagers found him crushed to death. They claimed the stone had begun its journey and rolled over him on its way to the loch. I mean, this is a real Final Destination story. The dude survived the shipwreck when everyone else died, and then he decided to do something so dumb, like climbing on top of this massive rock, and then the next morning waking up dead. He wouldn't have woken up. He was just dead. So I guess there's something in that. Either it's like a Final Destination thing, or maybe the stone really does like do its little journey every New Year's Eve to dip its little head, well, his massive head, its gigantic head, I guess the tip of it, into the log. Who knows? Who knows? Whether these stories are just warnings or something stranger, the overall message here is just fear. Fear of the future. And the future is scary, so I can see why there are these stories. But I, for one, don't really want to test the theory if the stone really does make the journey and crush people on its way. I don't think I need to see that. I'm not even curious about seeing it. So no, I'm good. I'm good with that story. I'm good. I'm gonna move on. My final story is just straight up ghosts coming back on New Year's Eve just to hang out and have a good time. This story comes from Minnesota and the Wabasha Street Caves by the Mississippi River. These caves aren't natural. They were carved in 1840 to mine silica for glassmaking, which was the industry at the time. When mining slowed, a man named Albert Monchalot used the caves to grow mushrooms. And the mushrooms were then sold to all of the restaurants in the local area, and the caves became known as Mushroom Valley, which just sounds like a Mario level. I mean, there probably is a Mushroom Valley in Mario on one of the games. I'm sure there is. I mean, it has to be Mushroom Valley. Unfortunately, in the 1920s, during the Prohibition era, Mushroom Valley died out and all the restaurants shut. And instead, the caves were transformed into a speakeasy. Speakeasies at the time were kind of like a top secret bar where only cool people hung out. It was a place where like gangsters hung out and socialites hung out, and there was just a lot of jazz music and underground drinking and dancing. So that's what this place was. It is said that the ghosts of these parties still linger. As the Wabasha Street Cave own history notes, visitors report hearing phantom clinking of glasses, faint strains of jazz bands, and the apparitions of men in pinstripe suits and women in flapper dresses forever celebrating New Year's Eve from a bygone era. One of the most famous ghost stories about these caves is of a gangster who was shot and killed in the caves, and it's said that his ghost haunts the back rooms, forever looking for his killer. I would love to visit these caves. They sound really cool, and that whole like speakeasy Prohibition era is really fascinating. There's so many cool ghost stories from around that time. During my research for this, I actually came across this image uploaded to Reddit from 2016. So I'm assuming it's not AI. As you can see, it shows a ghost, or the ghost of a man in a pinstripe suit, looking like he's having a great time. I mean, it may be real, it may not be real, but this photo was said to be taken in the caves. I will leave the link to the photo below. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Maybe the caves are haunted, maybe they're not. Maybe we're just romanticizing this era because it sounds glamorous, but it probably was awful. Or maybe these sort of places just witnessed some intense human emotion, and so they're just ghosts of the past replaying themselves every New Year's Eve, which is also kind of cool. And it's just a reminder that New Year's Eve isn't just about looking to the future, it's also looking to the past and looking at things refusing to let go, like these ghosts, just constantly celebrating New Year's Eve. So there we have it. This was just a few spooky stories, folkloric tales, and omens written in ice. It seems that humans have always tried to make sense of New Year's Eve by telling these stories, watching out for signs, and just laughing at the absurdity of it all. Because the future is terrifying, and pretending that we understand it just makes us feel better. But maybe we don't need to know what happens in the future. Maybe we just need to keep going. Whatever your New Year's resolutions are, just remember that life is so short. One moment you could be living it, and the next moment your wife could tell you that she knows you're gonna die because the bucket of ice told her. You know? It's just not that deep. So with that in mind, follow your dreams, smash your goals, and here's to 2026. I really hope that you have the most amazing year. Amiko hopes you have the most amazing year as well. And that's all we have time for today. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!